What's up, YouTubers? This is your guy, Mr. Evaluator again. And today we're going to be putting pre-recon Beyonder against Trigon. Okay, before we even go into battle with these guys, we're going to be evaluating the common basis of their power. Okay, so I'm going to go and start with Beyonder. I'm going to give him a highball. Beyonder is basically a author himself, okay? And as said, according to the Marvel Comics, when he was pretty much interviewing himself, he basically said that the universe does not exist without him, or the macroverse, or the reality nothing does not exist without him, because he is the embodiment of it, which was, what this guy was pretty much saying is, I am the author, and without me, I am the author of that author. Like, I can literally write myself into existence. Like, literally, I could do whatever I want to do because I'm pretty much my own author. And with this being said, he basically went into the multiverses to see what it was like to pretty much be a part of that universe, and pretty much erased his own memory just so that he won't have to remember about the things that he actually is. So basically, let's get to the main point. Pre-Recon Beyonder is pretty much an author of himself. He can pretty much do anything he wants. Clearly, he could do whatever he wants, and he's omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. He's all three of these things, and that's just him. He can't be, well, in this case, he can't be defeated because he is the embodiment of his realm. He is the creator of his realm. It is only him. And coming to the infinite Marvel universes and multiverses, it's pretty much like a drop of water compared to his vast ocean. So in this case, he is the literal God of himself. He's literally the author before creation ever even came to be. So in a highball case, this guy stumps Stephen King. He stumps the the Dark Tower's high tiers, because this guy is a outerversal buster, is what he is. He could pretty much, he's an author of himself. He writes his own stories. They come to life. He makes his own planets. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. Okay? He can make his own infinite multiverses. He can make 10 infinite multiverses at the tips of his fingers. This is how OP this guy is. And I mean, literally, he's pretty cool. And it's very impressive. With the stuff this guy can actually do, it's just unbelievable. All of his power, the stuff that he does, he's OP. And he stumps Pennywise's true form. He literally goes to Stephen King and says, hey, if you don't erase this guy, I'm going to erase him for you. And he'll literally do that. He will literally erase Pennywise. Literally, this guy is clearly OP. Now with Trigon. Now, the thing about Trigon is that he came from the dark thoughts, okay? The dark thoughts of the people in Azarath. And with this being said, being formed from darkness and evil itself, before you get into, wait a minute, Beyonder is above all, Beyonder is above high concepts. He's above the concept of evil. He's above the concept of all of this. Wait and just stop and listen. Trigon is literally the evil of himself. He is literally evil itself, and clearly can't be destroyed. So because he came from the dark thoughts of Azarath, and the dark imaginations of Azarath created him with darkness and evil itself. So literally he has become the embodiment of darkness and evil. And he could pretty much feed off of any other darkness and any other evil and become that surge of power in that darkness and that evil to whatever level it was. Prime example, Heart of Darkness. In this case, we'll be talking about, I forgot his name, Razel. Consumed of other evil. Okay, so him consuming evil to a macroverse level, Trigon absorbs that evil at a macroverse level and have the power above the macroverse, plus with the power he already has. So in this case, if Beyonder wanted to erase, if Beyonder just could just, let's just say he has the power to so-called erase Trigon, there would be no way for him to do it, because literally it's almost like Beyonder is going into somebody else's house and just literally taking their guns away. Oh, because he's an author of himself. Here's the key concept. Pre-recon Beyonder is an author in his own universe, okay? And clearly has no limits. Okay, my battery's going low. So he's basically an author of himself and really has no limits. So he can pretty much do anything he wants with himself and possibly other people. So in this case, if he wanted to erase evil, he couldn't, because Trigon is his own evil. And as much as he tries to, let's just say he erased all the evil in his universe, he still won't be able to erase Trigon. And pretty much the evil that was erased in that universe, Trigon can call that evil back and consume that evil and become the power in that universe and literally be equal and even more powerful than Beyonder. In this case, there is not a single person that can clearly destroy Trigon but Raven. Now, this guy Daniel Sakula just made a point and said, well, actually didn't make a point. He just basically said Trigon got beaten by the Teen Titans and the presence. Well, what you got to understand is it wasn't the Teen Titans. It was Raven. And you may as well say that the DC Comics might be contradicting themselves, because every time without Raven, the Teen Titans were destroyed when he went across the galaxy, when he went across the entire cosmos, okay, and just knocked everybody out, as said in Splash's earlier video, when he put Trigon against Pennywise, misunderstanding him. So a lot of people, this is why I say it is impossible to use feats in a debate. You have to stick with the common basis. Look at their capabilities and see whatever they're capable of. This capability Trigon has is like, it's just impressive. It's just too impressive. Like, he is basically his own evil. He's evil itself. And even if Beyonder tries to erase him, it's not going to happen, because who is the conqueror or the creator of that evil is Raven. Raven is the only key to pretty much, let's just say Beyonder erase Azarath and Raven. I mean, it still wouldn't kill Trigon. And I mean, of course, Raven's soul is literally immortal, and like, she's beyond that. She's even more powerful than her dad. So just imagine, like, him coming from her thoughts, all the dark imaginations of her thoughts and her mind. And basically it gives like Trigon this infinite layer of, power. Now, he did say that Beyonder could just sniff out Trigon. But in this case, if Trigon did not have that capability, yes, he could sniff him out. Like Vandal Savage. Let's just say Vandal Savage becomes an immortal, okay? Who's not even OP. Like freaking Beyonder, excuse the language, Beyonder can sniff this guy out. He could sniff Vandal Savage out. But because of that capability that Trigon has, literally makes him like unbeatable. without Raven, because Raven has a lot of dark thoughts, and without Raven, I mean, look what he did. Trigon beat the Justice League multiple times. He's beaten the Teen Titans multiple times without Raven. That's because Raven is the key concept of destroying Trigon. Literally, Arella had to use Trigon's power on him, his own power that she conjured up against him, to only take him out because of the likes of Raven. If it's not the power of his own, like, don't forget he's a demon, dude, and his power is like literally immeasurable. This is why I was telling, one of the other guys in the comments, Daniel, you got to understand the key concept about Trigon. He can absorb other evils, bro. He is evil himself. Yes, Beyonder is above evil, okay? He's above concepts like evil, but Trigon is literally evil himself. And by him having the capability of absorbing other evil, it literally puts him beyond the concept of evil. Literally. He's beyond the concept of evil. Now, take away that capability from Trigon, correct? And Trigon would just only be the definition of evil. And then Beyonder will be able to, sniff him out like it ain't nothing. But in this case, because of that capability, he can pretty much replicate any and everything Beyonder does in his universe. So, like, goodness, man. Like I just said, Raven is the only key concept in the whole DC comics, in the whole DC universe, is to beat Trigon. Anybody else, they're not going to be able to beat him. He took out the Teen Titans. He's taken on the Justice League multiple times, right? And there's not a single person in the DCU, right, that could beat Trigon. So in this case, putting these two guys to battle makes it like they're equal. They're equal to one another. This is why I was telling Daniel in the comic section that, Trigon and Beyonder are like clearly equal until if he doesn't have any other evil or he doesn't have any darkness in his universe, it kind of really even makes it complicated, okay? Because he can absorb that evil in that universe and become the power of that evil in that universe, plus with the power he already has. So I'm just going to go on and tell you guys, in this case, without the evil and the darkness being beside Beyonder, of all he can do, okay? Of all he can do, right? In this case, without the evil and the darkness, he's equal to Trigon, okay? Now, it never said anything about, Beyonder getting any stronger. Well, let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, let's give this guy a highball. Let's just say anything that has, something he could basically get power from it and can make himself even stronger, which really wouldn't make any sense, because if he's the author of himself, he can automatically make himself stronger. So in this case, let's just say that Beyonder makes himself 1 quadrillion times stronger than Trigon. And in this case, the scenario, because of no evil, Trigon could pretty much do the same thing, because his power is literally immeasurable. Literally. And this is without the darkness and the evil that is aside him. But if there are dark thoughts, and if there is evil, it's pretty much a boost for Trigon. Trigon can literally take that and just grow even stronger, bro. In this case, like, these two guys are just infinite toward each other. And because that Trigon has this capability, let's just say there's an evil and darkness that is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, right? Literally, let's just say there's an evil. Trigon could take that evil consume that evil, and clearly become the power that evil is. Literally. Plus the power he already has. So he's way out of the picture with this one, dude. This guy is way out of the picture. In this background, you pretty much see these heroes attacking. Well, I don't know what they're doing. These guys are flying towards Beyonder, right? And Beyonder is like standing in the midst of a dark void. If he fought Trigon in a dark void, let's just say that dark void is equal to that the power is like, let's just say that dark void is like omnipresent, right? If Trigon absorbed that dark void behind Beyonder, he too would become omnipresent and being an immortal at that. So in this case, without the darkness and the evil aside, these guys are equal toward one another. They are. They're equal. Which is why I was telling him, if Beyonder does not have no dark thoughts or no evil aside him anywhere in his reality or anywhere in his universe, he's pretty much equal to Trigon, man. And like, I mean, he could make himself like 700 quadrillion times stronger than Trigon. And with Trigon seeing this, he too can make himself 700 times stronger than Beyonder. Well, actually, they will both be equal to each other without the likes of Darkness. Actually, I think I kind of mixed that up. So, well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Because how can Trigon pretty much grow his power? Well, he's trying to get Raven because Raven is stronger than he is. And his power is like literally immeasurable. He could have beaten the Present in the comics. He could have beaten Phantom Strange. He could have beaten all of them. But the thing about it, he could take Lucifer Morningstar and absorb all of the evil out of him. Okay? And like literally become the darkness and reach the level. So whatever, let's just say that Lucifer Morningstar can destroy 15 quadrillion multiverses, like 15 quadrillion macroverses, right? That means, well, let's just say, I'm just putting a number on it just to say it. So 15 quadrillion macroverses. Trigon will literally absorb the evil out of him and become that level of power to pretty much destroy 15 quadrillion macroverses, infinite macroverses, okay? Infinite macroverses. So in this case, Beyonders has a vast ocean, and these 15 quadrillion multiverses, macroverses, are like a drop of water compared to his ocean. If, because he is the ocean himself. David Learson literally said that Trigon could transcend his power to that as well. He too can be the beach and the grain on the sand that carries the multi-interverses. In this case, Trigon is not this drop of water to Beyonder. Instead, Trigon is this vast ocean of evil and darkness that clearly can't be destroyed, but by the key concept of its own, which is pretty much Raven, who is the source of that darkness. Now, in this case, if she tried to go with her father, then it'll make him even more powerful. But when she goes against him, without him having any limits, he have any regrets, he immediately wants the power up inside his daughter so that he could be even more powerful to conquer more and more and more. And this pretty much says, according to the DC Comics, Trigon does not have no other purpose but to destroy and conquer. So once he conquered all of the universes and macroverses and everything, I mean, he's just pretty much done. Like, literally. I mean, Joker has more of a purpose than Trigon. Freaking Darkseid has more of a purpose. Doomsday has more of a purpose than Trigon ever does. In fact, according to the DC Comics, Trigon is one of the most dangerous and strongest villains in the DC universe. Clearly. So if you look at this case, As I said, that Trigon isn't this drop of water compared to Beyonder's vast ocean. If Beyonder, pre-recon Beyonder has any form of darkness, okay, let's just give it a highball. Let's just say that let's just say that Trigon is this drop of water to Beyonder, right? If Beyonder has in his vast ocean any any form of evil or darkness inside his vast ocean, with him being the embodiment of that ocean of itself, then Trigon can literally, being this one drop of water to that ocean, will absorb the darkness in that ocean and become the vast, and that drop of water will become the vast ocean Beyonder is. Plus the power that was already in it. So in this case of scenario, Trigon is already ahead. So in this case of the scenario, Trigon is literally beyond Beyonder. In this case, he's literally beyond Beyonder. So, like I said again, DC Comics really kind of doesn't have any more stories for Trigon but to conquer and destroy. So why not allow him getting beat up by, the presence, because all he wants to do is destroy. Trigon himself was made to fight the beliefs and imaginations of humanity. Like, his whole purpose, that's what it is. That's why he's basically the embodiment in darkness of evil himself, because he was made to fight the beliefs and imaginations of humanity. Literally, not because that the beliefs and imagination of humanity beats him. It's because he battles with it, man. This guy literally battles with it. He wants to turn your imaginations dark. He wants to turn your thoughts dark so that he could fuse that power and become even stronger. Like, this guy is deadly than a son of a gun. In this case of scenario, freaking Trigon is way above Beyonder. And because of him having this capability, he got him. He got Beyonder, pre-recon Beyonder beat. I mean, of all him being his own author and could create things himself and do whatever he wants, Trigon does that on levels of the matter of the darkness and evil he consumes. Like, literally. So if darkness and evil is an author of itself and he consumes that, he has that power. So in this case, Beyonder will need to erase the evil and the darkness in his vast ocean just so that Trigon can't be equal to him. Okay? Just so that he can't be equal to him. And even if they fight, or these two go into battle with each other, you best believe that Beyonder would have no other choice but just probably try to just put him somewhere or run from him. Because in this case, Trigon is too great. Like, anything that has darkness, he'll absorb it and become the power it is and become the level it is that is of that darkness. This guy's way OP. Let's just say, in this case, Beyonder try to see if he can overpower him, Trigon. The only way he's going to have to not defeat, but run away from Trigon is not have any dark thoughts. And literally, Trigon is the master. He's literally he's literally a god of dark thoughts himself. So if he gets around Beyonder and puts dark thoughts in his head, just Beyonder thinking a small fragment, a fraction of darkness, he can consume that out of his mind and literally become the power Beyonder has. And literally become the level Beyonder is. And that is just too OP. That is too OP. That is too OP, man. Like, Trigon has this one. So if you guys have any questions, uh, put your comments below. Like, subscribe if you want to. But yeah, this kind of really what I really wanted to point out. But let's just say Trigon was to think about him. Like, I mean, again, Raven is the key concept to destroying Trigon. Okay? So, like, Beyonder, if it's any case and scenario, Beyonder's going to have to call Raven. He's going to have to probably get Raven, you know. And in this case, Trigon can literally warp his reality. But it wouldn't, but Beyonder, but the best thing for Beyonder is just get away from anything that has darkness in it. He's going to have to be surrounded in light. He's going to have light in his mind, all of that. Literally, because if he think or feel anything with darkness, like, you know, Trigon's coming, dude. And Trigon's going to absorb that level of darkness and literally become that level of darkness. So in this case, you know, Beyonder's best option is to not even engage with this guy. It's to pretty much stay in his universe, stay in his vast ocean, and just deal with the MCU. And crossing DC will be one of the biggest mistakes he'd ever do and ever possibly make. And Trigon is just one of every villain in DC he'll deal with. So there will be plenty of more people, you know, that will seriously, like, literally give him a problem. Like, literally be a caution, a danger, a problem to him. And, like, yeah, so Trigon is just this little barrier around DC. It'll be good for him to be warned by Trigon and to never return to DC ever again because of his capabilities. So if you have any questions and comments, please list it below. We can have a discussion. So got things to do. Hit me up whenever you guys get a chance. Okie dokie. And lastly, at this conversation, you know, I mean, all he could do is just talk to Trigon, and Trigon say whatever he says, and, you know, all he can do is think light. But if he think any had a dark thought, you know, Trigon will snap his finger and become the amount of darkness this guy is thinking in his head, and he'll be equal to his level of power. Plus the power he already has, so he'd be above him. So, have any questions or concerns, leave it in the comment below. Peace.